I think it's both an advantage of television, as you guys have mentioned, and as well as a disadvantage. The fact that you are able to, have a character breakdown over a several episode arc or several season arc, but after a point in time, doesn't it get old? Now, what has happened with him, Homeland, since we're talking about that, is that Brody had to. I mean, I don't know, spoiler alert, he had to go away, and then there's another story.
Well, if they don't know that by now.
Yeah, yes, another character had to take over. And, outside of sitcoms for that matter, characters on television, after a point of time, how much more can you explore them? So is it fair thing to say? I mean, it's a confusion. Is there that character is immensely well developed on television, but after a point of time, how much more can an audience take? So how do you grapple with that?
Well, I think you have to reinvent the series. You have to reignite it. I think Homeland did that wonderfully. And it's true, though. It used to be that in television the characters didn't change, so you can continue and continue and continue. But now more and more you see characters that change, even on big network shows, that they do explore the arc of the character.
Isn't that also just the nature of structure, like a syndicatable show, a situation, say like Friends? Well, that did have arcs though too.
Yeah.
I mean, when they're on a break, one's screwing around, we're on a break, there's like stuff to build on. But like Cheers, for example, which did they have Cheers here?
Yeah.
They did.
You could watch that in any order, and it's fine. So the characters had to kind of stay the same, didn't they?
Yeah. But now more and more you see serialized show, the characters do change, even on network. I just directed an episode of Quantico, which is a very highly serialized show, and you see that things are changing, and the writers and producers are reinventing every week to make sure that you don't get bored.
Okay, this has nothing to do with the panel, but did you have fun directing Priyanka?
I did. She's wonderful, absolutely wonderful.
Nikhil, 100 episodes. You have set up a character. You have set up multiple characters actually in the first episode. How do you ensure that people are interested in them for 126 episodes? It's a finite series, but it's still a very long series.
It's an answer I can give you only after it finishes. I don't know. See, for me, it's a discovery every day. I thought it's going to be a piece of cake. I've done such big films. What's doing a show? It's nothing. Come on, I'll just go and do one show, right? But every single day has been an eye opener for me, because it's quite a task in the sense to be able to. But I mean, you have to surround yourself. The answer that you're looking for is you have to surround yourself with a great writing team. You have to have a great writing team. People who are constantly challenging you and throwing you and not telling you, yes, you're great and you've done Kalonao and you've done this film or whatever. You have to. They're constantly. They're there. They're fighting with me all the time, and they're all the time. So you have to. I think television is a writer's medium. It's a big writing medium, and if you don't have that support system, you can't do what you have to do, right? In the sense, because you're right. So the characters have to keep reinventing, even within 126 episodes. I don't know how people do it in shows which are 10 years and 12 years and 13 years. But even in 126 episodes, we've reached episode number 60. And we say, okay, now what's going to happen with Sandhya's character? What's going to happen with this? Where is she going? How is she going? Oh, no, she can't do that. Why can't she do that? But what, so you have to keep talking. And you have to keep reinventing. That's the only way of, I think.
See, that's actually the question that I was going to ask, because you have to, is what you've said, because like Cary, I read in an interview that you have given long ago about how you would not have done it had it been any more than the 8 hours that you would. The reason that you're not doing a season 2 or a season 3 after that was because you had.
Someone had said like, well, Rust and Hart are going to become homosexual lovers and start a new detective agency for season 2. There's a whole new arc to explore there.
I'd watch it.
So, that was never presented to me. So
But since for the same reason, I mean, you are doing television. I mean, you're doing film, and then you're coming down to television. And what do you agree to? That okay, I will. How do you know that my character has 8 hours of content to give, or 8 hours of stuff to say? When there is no period, right? Like, is it just because it's 8 episodes long, or for that matter, how do you fill that in? How when you get into it for the first time?
Oh, I thought by 7 or 8 they'd just be sitting in the car and not saying anything anymore. You know, like a long road trip. But we had a very specific genre for True Detective, which was a noir crime story. So we had one case to get through over 8 episodes, and I thought we had plenty of steps to go through in that amount of time and to be able to finish it. And one of the things that was very important to us was solving, or at least completing, that story in that one season, and not using some sort of constructed red herring or false ending to lure people into a second season. The entire pitch to every network we went to was that this would be an anthology with a third act and an ending every season. And there's something satisfying about that, which is different than, say, another kind of serialized show, which I actually think it requires more creative gymnastics for the writers to figure out how to draw people in. It's actually much easier to finish a story.
Nikhil, because you were speaking about the same, so, you know, as you said, you had to reinvent. Is the 126 thing a curse or is it a benefit?
No, I think 126 is because also we have that much to say. I mean, if you see just the 2 seasons of Hatufim, what he's done in 2 seasons, and because, I mean, we've also changed the format of how to tell the story, right? In the sense, Hatufim is an hour-based long episode. We are 22 minutes, and we are 6 days a week. That's something that was one of the first conversations that Gaurav had with me, which was that we want, you know, you go ahead and do it the way you want to do it, but we know how to put it out. And it has to be 6 days a week. In this country, you need to be, it's like a drug, right? You need to come every single day and watch the same kind of thing. It's not drugs are not bad, so it's not, don't look at it. So you have to keep watching it, right? So at 126 is where POW will end. At least my POW will end in 126. I mean, we've been talking about as writers, how do we stop the network from doing, we'll kill everybody off. Just everybody is gone. There's nobody else there. But no, the story, Gideon's story ends with us. In fact, it ends a little earlier. I had to call him up and tell him that, okay, I'm going to go a little ahead. What did you have in mind for season 3? And he was very kind to tell us, okay, this is what I wanted to do.
So I'm so happy because I'm going to get to see the season 3 that I'm planning in the Indian television before I get to do it in the original show.
Gideon, doesn't happen with you when you're in the writer's room and you think that, okay, I have had everything I wanted to say through these characters, but the network wants to renew the show, you know?
Honestly, it's such a, I'm not, I mean, it's going to sound, it's such a privilege to do it, and if the audience is tired of it, the network's not going to go, let's continue anyway. So I think I would go on.
Gaurav, this is a question that is even especially relevant to you, right? Because, see, what's happening in America is that the daytime soap opera is pretty much dead, you know, and even primetime soaps today are struggling, you know, because of a Netflix or Amazon or cable. You know, everyone's pretty much, all the audiences is cord cutting, as they say in America. But in India, you know, we still have dailies. POW is a daily, you know, and even when we have seasonal structures or weekend shows, they are still soapy to a certain extent, you know. I mean, this one was incredibly refreshing for that matter. But why is there such a gap between what is... Because interestingly, attention spans are declining, you know, across the world. People don't have the patience to watch something for so long. But in India, there seems to be some sort of a gap in this. Why do you think that is?
Yeah, can I respond to that previous question also on why networks love torturing writers? Just a thing we do. No, actually, you know, so what is the network deciding on whose basis, on whose behalf is the network deciding? Or maybe like myself, we are here to serve our fans. And if the belief is that, you know, a story, a character has really resonated and has touched a chord, and therefore our fans, people like you, people sitting at home, families, they would want to watch this person's journey, then it is our duty to go back to the creators and say, okay, you know what, there is some juice left here, we think. Do you have a creative idea? And if they do, we make something of it, right? Having said that, you know, I work for a channel which has periodically shut down top 10 shows. You know, we shut down a show called Bidai. It was the top-rated show at that point in time. A month ago, we shut down the Aur Baati Hum. It was among the top-rating shows when we decided on that. Fundamentally, not driven just by the urge of fans as represented by ratings, but because creatively we felt it wasn't going anywhere. We didn't really know what more to tell with those set of characters. So I think it's a good executives who have an ear to the ground and great creative people sitting together making some good choices is usually the magic of television. And having given this long answer, I've forgotten the question that you did ask me.
But there's usually the magic of any creative work. It's not only about television. And several times, I'm going to remind you later on, you said you come down to television. I don't think you should be coming down to television at all. I mean, come on.
At that time, because now, of course, television is amazing.
But 90210 was amazing.
We've grown. I mean, the whole last year, I can count on my fingertips the number of times I've gone into a cinema hall and watched a film that I really wanted to go and watch, but the minute you see the trailer of Game of Thrones and you tweet about it, and I say, oh, the Game of Thrones trailer is out, right? So, or for that matter, House of Cards or anything. So the most exciting stuff is happening on television right now, right? You can actually go for a drink with Emma Stone, and you can make and come out of it and say, "Wow, I'm going to make a show," right?
Everyone can.
Why is it that even the creative, I mean, even the actors are looking at, they're not shying away from television anymore. I mean, everybody's looking at saying, okay, what do you have to say? Can you say? How can you say it? And if the network wants to back you, then it's great.
And let me respond to the question that you did ask now that I've remembered it. I think there are 2-3 issues here. One is that, let's not kid ourselves. We are living in India and not the United States of America. We're incidentally not having the presidential election that they're having. So maybe there are some things which are pretty much a little bit better here.
That's a great show.
It's great television. Yeah, that's
wonderful
right.
show. Yeah.
So, so I think we are fundamentally in a very, very different society, very different country, where television is a lot younger, right? So, I mean, if Star Plus is the number one channel for a long time, Star Plus started programming in Hindi in the year 2000. So, like it's 16, 17 years of having, high quality television of some scale in this country. So we are sort of in our, late teens, I guess. So we will mature and figure this out as we go along, number one. Number two, for a vast majority of our audiences, the number of years of watching is like 1/3 of that. So I think that's a second issue as well, right? And television is expensive to make. Good television, which you just saw, hopefully you think, is even more so. And therefore it really needs a business model that really supports that. And so I think some of those compulsions are real. Having said all of those things, I think that these are, there are other markets which we should look for as sort of intermediaries between Hollywood and where Hollywood is and where we are. So for example, the Latin American markets, right, where they have telenovelas, which also run for 1 year and a bit more. So I think there is need for and there is room for all kinds of TV shows in our country. We will always have space for dramas that can run for years on end. We are trying our level best to create dramas which have a much tighter storytelling grip and higher quality of actors and far more number of days to be able to try to get to the cinematic quality that you just saw in this outstanding piece of work.
You guys had the Star Bestseller series. I mean, it was fantastic. And some of the biggest directors in India today all started off with the Star Bestseller. I mean, whether it's Sriram, Imtiaz,
Rajkumar Hirani.
They all were at the start. So I think that it's very easy for us to say that we are the ones who created the formula, or we are the ones who basically have said that this is the formula and this is the formula that works. But in my opinion, for an audience, I mean, there's an audience today that sat and watched this, right? And it's as far as you can get from what is playing on television today. But it needs to connect, right? I mean, I have connected with the two characters that Cary showed in True Detective, or that he has shown. When I watched Hatufam, I was shocked that I was actually moved by the story of two prisoners who are coming back from Palestine, right? I mean, how can that move me? I don't know anything about the relevance. I mean, of that political nuance and everything. But the thing is that you have to connect, right? Somewhere it has to connect, and television has done that. I mean, I grew up on Nukkad and Bunyad and Hamlog and Manoranjan and Circus, and so we are the ones who are responsible. We need to, if we don't say that, okay, we need to make that change, it's going to, then we can't blame anybody else.
Cary,